Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Force here, covering new PC releases for the week of September the 9th to the 15th. We're just gonna jump right into it. I really don't know how to open up these videos, so let me just go into the new releases. Starting on Monday, September the 9th, we are seeing early access to the game Delver. This is a first-person action roguelike dungeon crawler with pixelated graphics. Visually, it's very reminiscent of Cube World for me. It's got randomly generated levels, it features also permadeath, an RPG loot and level up system, and it does have modding support. I have reached out to the developer. I'm going to be trying to get access to this game so I can provide you guys with some content, hopefully. But you can buy yourself into the early access yourself for $7.99. Moving on now to Tuesday, September the 10th, Amnesia: A Machine for Pigs, which is the sequel to Amnesia: The Dark Descent, a survival horror adventure game. It is set in the same universe as the original game, but it does feature a new protagonist. And also, it's being worked on by the guys who did Dear Esther as well, which was sort of an atmospheric game. Less like horror focused like a game like Amnesia or Outlast, but definitely had a sense of atmosphere. And I think them working on the sequel to Amnesia hopefully will provide benefits. Hopefully that's going to be a positive addition. You can pick up Amnesia today for $19.99. Also today isn't so much a new release, but the Elder Scrolls Anthology is now available. This is a compilation of all the Elder Scrolls titles for the PC, from Arena all the way up to the most recent installment, which is of course Skyrim. Now, beyond getting the base games, the Anthology also includes DLC for those games, as well as some physical maps of Tamriel, Iliac Bay, Morrowind, Cyrodiil, and Skyrim. One of those things where if you say you played Skyrim, but you haven't played the other Elder Scrolls games and you are interested, this is probably going to be a good pickup for you, or just even people who like to collect things. I mean, honestly, I think some people might buy this just for the maps, which sounds ridiculous, and it sort of is. But yeah, I mean, if you have one or two of the Elder Scrolls titles, but not all of them, might be worth picking this up. But to be honest with you, for 80 bucks, I bet you there's a good chance you could fill in the missing holes in your Elder Scrolls collection cheaper just by purchasing them, piecemeal. But some people just like to spend money on this sort of thing, so there you go. Now on to Thursday, September the 12th. This is the game that I'm most excited about in this particular week. It is Aarklash Legacy. This is a tactical adventure RPG with an active pause combat system. So think something like Baldur's Gate or the original Dragon Age. In it, you control a group of 4 characters out of a total of 8. So as you make your way through the story, you unlock more characters, and then you get to sort of pick the dynamic of the group that you want. It is a single player only game. It features a fairly lengthy campaign, which I believe, if I recall correctly, don't quote me on this, but I believe it's 20 plus hours. I'll try to get more information on you in the future. So you make your way through the campaign, slaying monsters, leveling up, collecting loot. Visually, I love the way that the art style of the game looks. It reminds me a lot of Torchlight or Diablo, just the perspective and the way the character animations are. The models and the animations of combat are really, really solid and fluid, and I enjoy the active pause combat system. So I've been really enjoying this. Now, when it comes to price, I don't have a set price. Looking on the forums, I saw that it was going to be coming out for 19.99 euros, which I believe is around $26. So it might be coming in at $25 or $30, depending on what the publisher decides to do there. But more Aarklash Legacy coverage is coming in the future. I have already so far covered it this week. And now, finally, on Friday, September the 13th, we got a handful of games coming out. First, the King of Fighters 13, the Steam Edition. This is a 2D versus fighting game featuring 36 characters, 3-on-3 team fights, ranked matchmaking, challenges, and a story mode. I'm not all that into fighting games, so I don't have much more to say about this. But if you are, you can pick it up for $29.99. Volgar the Viking. This is a retro-inspired side-scrolling action game that promises to kick your butt. The game touts simple controls, high challenge, and meticulous design, featuring 7 varied worlds, 40+ unique enemies, and thousands of handcrafted pixel animations. So it's a retro-inspired game. It's supposed to be challenging. These things are so hit or miss. It really just comes down to the gameplay, how fluid and how fun it is. So I don't really have any first impressions to tell you about that as of yet. Legend of Dungeon coming out on Friday as well. This is a roguelike beat-em-up dungeon crawler with randomly generated levels and RPG elements. It features, let's see, some of the features include 26 levels of a randomized dungeon, a RPG weapon and magic system, permadeath, and 4-player co-op. It's got an interesting visual style. You can pick that up for $9.99. And finally, for new releases this week, Huntsman The Orphanage. This is a game I talked about in last week's video. It was supposed to come out last Friday. It's been pushed to this Friday. Who knows if it's going to get delayed again. This is the indie 3D first-person horror mystery game where you explore an old orphanage building investigating the legend of the Huntsman and the disappearance of children, and the only tool that you have within the game is your smartphone. So yeah, lots of scary games coming out this month, and I expect that trend to continue into October. So that does it for new releases for this week. Let's wrap things up with my planned content. So as mentioned prior, I have already covered Aarklash Legacy. I did this little 13-minute video, and I've covered it in a pair of videos over the past month. I plan to do more of it. I'm planning to continue to cover Aarklash this week. This is the game that I hope to play to completion this week and give you some final thoughts on it once I am done. I'm also looking at checking out Legend of Dungeon. It seems like it could be an interesting game. And then potentially I'll be looking at Delver, although since that's not fully released, it's just early access, that coverage may get pushed into the future. And then Volgar the Viking. Again, it's hit or miss. It could be really great, or it could be bad. It comes down to the gameplay and how fun that actual experience is. So I'm going to get in touch with that developer and see if I can get myself an early copy. And then we'll continue with various Hearthstone videos. We got Friday Night Magic coming up and the Force Feed, and any discussion or just random stuff that I feel like throwing up on the channel. All right, guys, that does it here. Thank you so much for watching this coverage of new PC releases for this week. If you guys like the content, please subscribe, and as always, keep watching and keep owning.